off. So that's what the existing does. Day is daylight harvesting, which is if you have a big room and a bank of lights near a window and it's a bright day, those lights will dim or even go off if necessary, with the selected light level chosen for that. So it's just another way to save energy. Multi is just something you want more than one control. You choose that and then you put in the notes what you want. Where'd it go?
There it is.
There we go. To be honest with you, I don't know what net is. Get back to you on that. Occupancy is, first of all, see the occ, and then after photo is fake. So occupancy and vacancy. Those are two switches you have as you walk into a room. The occupancy sensor will automatically turn the lights on with motion as you walk into the room. And then after a set period of time, as you leave the room, the lights go out. Vacancy sensor, you have to actually physically turn the light on. And then you go into the room, and if you leave without turning it off, after a period of time, the lights dim down. That is the better choice with a little bit more savings, because think about just needing to walk into a break room and grab a pencil off the table and then leave. You didn't need to have the lights on to do that. So as you walk in with a vacancy sensor, they won't go on. And with an occupancy sensor, they would. You're in there for 10 seconds, but the lights stay on for 10 minutes. So that's the difference between occupancy and vacancy. And a photo cell is simply outdoor light, gets dark, lights come on. And then other is other.
Oh, you saw a lot of others.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I wanted you to know that because we're gonna put those up at the top up here just as kind of a guide, and then this will be the form. Okay, we'll make it available to you in two forms. One is as a tablet, so it's padded. You can just take it out, put your notes all on it, and then if you go beyond, I think it goes down to around 30. So if you go beyond 30 locations, then you can just go to another piece of paper. And then when you get back to the office, you can input it directly into the Monday.com.
I know what net is. Network is like network control. So if the light that you have in your office, DR, the arc lighting, it's where you can control it with Bluetooth. That's what net was for network control.
Okay. So we'll have that form available to you for that. We're also going to put it on the web and give you access to it in the field, so that if you've got an iPad in the field and you just want to use that to take your surveys, you'll be able to do that. So we want to make it easy. Honestly, I'd give you a blanket and some fire. It would make it easier to send smoke signals. So we just want to get these done, and we want to get them presented. So that's the HWA. Now, this is the form that Bruce looks at, and this is his Bible, because it's got all the different things, all the options, and the current survey form doesn't have some of these options. So what you'll have to do when you input it is you'll have to, in the comments, make sure you include the other options. Okay? Everybody with me so far?
Yep.
If anyone's wondering what HWA stands for, that's simply handwritten audit. So this is what we've used in the past to go out with pen and this paper to perform an audit survey.
Now I want to show you guys the next thing. Here we go, right here.
So, Jeff, would you suggest going in, using the LightShare website, doing an audit, and then coming back and filling out the money.com? Or do we need to directly use the money.com Google Sheet? Because that kind of twisted up what I thought we were doing. I'm kind of confused.
What we're giving you the option to do is do it by hand. Because sometimes, especially if you're with somebody and they're walking through with you, it's real hard to stay up, and be quick with trying to do it on your phone or a tablet. So you do it handwritten, then you go in and input it as you normally would if you were out there in the field doing it.
What I was thinking. Good.
And if you lose connectivity in the field, that's what happened to Mike. That's what brought this all about. Mike got all the way through the survey, got down to the last one, wanted to put a picture in, and ta-da, problematic, it's gone. So with this, you'd be able to put it right into the Monday.com and it uploads
So
the pictures you've taken.
is there a way to link that to our lightsayer.com website? Or is it already in there?
It's already in there.
Okay, I didn't see it. Maybe I overlooked it. Cool.
So are we supposed to do the survey from the website first and then Monday.com?
No, the survey from the website goes directly into Monday.com.
It's all connected.
That's all connected. That survey form that you see is actually the Monday.com form or Monday.com program produced as a form. It's a really big deal. Let me tell you why it's a big deal. First and foremost, let me say that if by chance this thing comes back from the lab and they say, well, it doesn't kill COVID-19, nice try, guys, then this meeting won't happen, okay? However, the chances of that seem to be slimmer and slimmer on a daily basis. And most of the reason for that is all the researchers, the science, the developers, co-developers that we have on this project, all believe that the science and everything is absolutely spot on. And there's scientific papers out there regarding UV and COVID-19. We're doing it in such a way that's different. We're killing it in the air. And there are others that kill it in the air, but nobody can be in the room at the time it's being done. Not helpful. So going on then to plan B, it does work. We have the meeting on the 31st. What's that mean to you guys? Well, first off, these things sell for $1,595 each. Commission is 10%. It's going to be highly unlikely that they'll order one. It'll probably be a minimum of 3 and a maximum of God only knows what. You get a hospital that calls in an absolute paranoia and you go out and see them and they say, yeah, we want one in every patient's room and we want 2 in each surgery center, each operating center. I mean, you're going to wind up with an order that's going to be in the hundreds of thousands as opposed to just thousands. And that'll all be yours. Now, there's some things you need to know about this. This is a 2 by 4 foot troffer. And a troffer, as you recall, is just a device that's got a light bar right down the center. All of the killing action and everything that goes on is on the back side of it. And from an aesthetic perspective, it's the same as what they have, except that they'll see a little purple on one end, just so that people know that that is the Safe Air UV system at work. It'll also be controlled by cell phone. So whoever facilities manager, whatever, can monitor it on a constant basis, make sure they're all turned on or turned off. If they're not using that wing or whatever they want to do, they can do that.
And in addition, they will be able to track and tell and confirm that that light was killing at any given time. So if somebody is in a hospital room and checks out and gets COVID a few days later and say, hey, you were supposed to have this light that was killing it, we can go back and prove that the light was working and that will help legal problems down the road.
So this is going to be huge. Now, there's a couple of ways to sell this. As a standalone, obviously, you go into, let's take a surgery center. You go in there, you got the lights in the lobby, you got the lights that are in the actual surgery center, and you got all the rooms, the aftercare rooms that people are in for about 4 hours. You got the employees' rooms, you got all those kinds of things. Even the smallest surgery center that I've ever seen, and I was intimately involved with surgery centers when the idea first came along. So my clients built the first surgery centers in Southern California, if that means anything. So those surgery centers were pretty small, actually. Probably in square footage, maybe 40,000 square feet. And so that size has got to take probably 10 or more of these lights. There's also going to be a calculation on the web so that we can calculate what that is. Now, this works off of a cubic feet as opposed to square feet, because you're taking into consideration the length, the width, and the height of the ceiling. So obviously the cubic volume of that room is going to be greater with a 20-foot ceiling than it would be with an 8-foot ceiling. And that's the difference. So everything's on the cubic foot system. So that's what you need to know, those 3 dimensions: length, width, height. So with that, we'll be able to, there'll be a chart that we'll be able to tell exactly how big the room. If the room is a certain size, they're going to have 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever. And if they've already got these 2x4 lights, proper lights in that space, then it's simply a retrofit. If it does not, then it has to be mounted. And it can be surface mounted, and there's a collar that goes around so that you don't see all the the distance between the flange and the actual body. That collar wraps around. So that's about the best you can do with that. But they can be surface mounted. They can be mounted then up in the T-rail system that a lot of people have. Or if it's a hospital, for example, they've got a hard ceiling and those lights are just mounted right up inside. So all of that's fair game. Now we're just going to quote the price of the lamp. So the next question becomes, well, what if they want it installed? Here in Las Vegas, we have a lights there. David is our guy. He's a good friend of Wes's. Is a nice guy. He's going to put in Summit Dental. All that stuff is being shipped to my home here. David will pick it up, take it over there, and install it at whatever agreed upon time that we have. But we can put those lamps in here ourselves, or we can just sell them the lamps and they put them in themselves. There is no rebate on these lamps because unless we're replacing the existing fluorescent lights with this, then there might be a rebate involved. But I doubt it, and I'll tell you why. Because the lights, well, no, actually there would be. Because what's happening is that the T4s and T8s, 4-foot and 8-foot troffers, those things are being sold now by a wholesaler, right, Jeff?
The tubes are, yeah, but I'm not sure NV Energy, will have to check with them, but Energy Trust of Oregon, it would not qualify for a rebate because you have to fit within a certain expense of what you're providing. So if the cost is above whatever their parameters are, the rebate is not offered. So because of the cost of this, I've got to assume there won't be a rebate.
Yeah, we'll have the product will actually launch on the 22nd. So these shirts we thought we needed for the 31st, we're actually going to need them on the 22nd.
Hey, would you mind unsharing the screen, DR?
Oh, so sorry.
I just feel like I'm looking off and there we go.
Okay. So those things will be available, the actual announcement will be on the 22nd, and it'll be huge. The people we're inviting are the governor and the senators and the House of Representatives people for the state of Nevada, the mayor of Las Vegas, mayor of Henderson, both Las Vegas and Henderson Chamber of Commerce, all the network stations, and then we're inviting some clients. And that's what I want to talk to you about now. Okay, the clients that we want, or potential clients that we want, especially, are assisted living, hospitals, surgery centers, doctor's offices, dentist offices, all of those kinds of things. Now, we also want regular clients. For example, if Freeman was still going, good example, that'd be great. If we've got somebody that's manufacturing something or working in a garage like my mechanic will, that would be good. And here's why. When we do the presentation, the news is going to ask whatever, but at the end, we want them to be able to do a Q&A with the businesses that are there so that they can say, well, let me ask you, my mechanic, how would this impact your business? Let me ask you, Dr. So-and-so, how would this impact your business? And we want that on record. We want people stating what that is. Now, in that meeting, we'll also have physicians that have already reviewed this. We'll have the lab that did all the testing so we can ask questions of them. They could ask questions of them. I believe we'll also have the lab in our 31st of August presentation. We'll also have the guy from the lab where we can ask questions at that time as well. We'll also have the two inventors, Steve Batty, who's from the innovative side, which does all the electronics, and Steve Daniel, who's from Lights There, who did all the design, the design work. So the two of them put together, along with Thomas and Norm and a couple other people, this thing called UV Health. So,
DR?
yeah.
Can I invite Steve Ross?
Can you invite whom?
Steve is the guy who works with the entertainment systems that wants us to develop the light for him that he wants to have for all the events. He does all the big shows like Stevie Nicks concerts and all the concerts.
Absolutely. Yeah, get me, now listen, we only have 50 seats available. We're going to do 2 sessions, one at 10 and another one at noon. We have to have an hour between them so that they can sanitize that room. So one of the things we're thinking about, Mike, is to have a separate opportunity for people to see either one of those through Zoom, and they'll just be listening in. They won't get a chance to comment, but they can type questions in, and we'll have somebody fielding those questions as they're typed in as well. But we don't want to announce that and give people the chance of, well, I'd rather just be on Zoom. Now, we want people there. So that's the first position that we want to try and fill up. So one way or another, and of course he's down there, and where's he at, in Arizona? Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so he wouldn't be coming up anyway. He'd want to see it on Zoom, but he could ask his questions on Zoom, just type them in and people will answer.
So he won't be able to come up. And like the mayor and people like that in Phoenix, there's nothing for anybody here?
No. What we could do is we could do, if you wanted to get people together with the press and everything, is we could do a meeting room in Phoenix, and by Zoom have all these things available. We'll have a model for you to see and for them to work with. So let's talk about that offline, Mike, and see what we could do. That we need to do it. Phoenix is an office, so we need to treat it like such. And I'll work on that along with Jeff. We'll see what we can do. How's that?
Awesome. I'll ask Trump to come to mine.
Okay. All right. What other questions do you have about either the 31st or the 22nd?
Can we bring bathing suits on the 31st?
Sure. Last time I was in the pool, which was about three or 4 days ago, it was like stepping into a bath. You know, crazy. I expect these pools to start bubbling at any minute. It's just it's not getting cool in the evening, so consequently the temperature stays.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions about that? All right, let me talk about joint marketing. Obviously, every business could benefit from this Safe Air UV system. However, our core business is to sell LEDs. And I do not want you guys to forget that that's why we're here, is to sell LEDs. We need installations. We need to get some closure. Those people who buy now, and this is a way to get additional closure, buy now, get first option, first crack at the new UV system, Safe Air system, so that they can be one of the first to have it in their business. So let's use that as a carrot to try and get them to do this. We'll have more literature in the coming days on the UV, or pictures and so on and so forth. It's coming, and it's all in a big rush and a big hurry. I've been taken off the website development, so they're having somebody else do something else. They've got a couple of movies that are coming out, which they're animated, which shows how if I go, how it blows out and goes into the air and then gets sucked into the lamp and then goes through the lamp and then comes out clean air. That's going to be demonstrated. So it's going to be kind of cool. And we'll have that as well. So you'll be able to take people to either our Lights There website or the UV Health, probably Lights There, and see that in action. We can show that to the client, either remotely or if you're in their place. But if they're going to get the LED lamps, we'll give them the option to be one of the first ones to get the Safe Air UV lamp. And that's a nice trade-off and something you can offer of value.
What's pretty amazing about this stuff is, I mean, this is something we can say, let's say the elite car guy wants to do that. He buys it, press would be all over it. He would be the world's first, audio company to have this in place. And we do a nursing home. They're the world's first nursing home to have this in place. So that's some pretty powerful words.
Yep. And if they're not the world's first, they could be Las Vegas or Arizona's first.
Yep, absolutely.
So pick these opportunities up. These are great opportunities. I want to just tell you guys, I don't know, maybe I haven't shared it, but and I know that you guys all know that I've had other companies and done other things. I'll be turning 74 next month. And I would have never thought, ever, when I decided to retire in 2012, that I'd be associated with any fast-moving product like this again, ever. And I'm really excited to be associated with this. This is a great legacy for me as a person. This is what I'm going to wind up with. I'm not going to be in anything else. In all probability, I'm probably going to work maybe a maximum of a couple of years more. That's it. So to be associated with this and to have my children and my progeny know that I tried to do something for the environment. I tried to do something to help humankind. That's huge for me. It should be huge for you as well. Heretofore, I thought the work that we had done from 2005 to 2012 in the 55 countries we were in with all kinds of healthcare things and other things we did for homeless and people in general, I thought that was going to be my legacy. I think being a part of this is part of my legacy now, and I'm really excited by that because this is a great product. Assuming everything goes well with the lab, is there any reason why any of us can't be super successful? %. That's a lot of money to be paid. So just mark it out, $15.95. Let's say in your total territory, you sell 100 of them between now and the end of the year. How's that look for commission? That's probably more money than any of you expected to make in retirement. I think most of us in retirement just hope it's going to be more than what it would be as a Walmart greeter. Definitely didn't want to do that.
What kind of advice or strategies do some of you veterans have to get in front of the owners, to get them to listen to us? We're constantly getting that wall of the Heisman. Have you guys have any tricks up your sleeve other than people that that anything like that? Or
anybody want to answer that? I have an answer for it, but go ahead. Anybody have an answer?
You got to have you got to practice your elevator pitch basically and have it down pat to where if you were just walk into an elevator with some stranger, you can reel off in 10 seconds what it is you do. It starts with that. I don't know how else to tell you. That's a great question, and I don't know if I have the perfect answer like DR just might, but I just be myself. I tell them what we have to offer. That offering is enough usually to get their ear and have them listen. I feel like you just started, for the most part, really starting to hit it hard. You've been working and doing a lot of things, got a lot going on, but you're just now really focusing 100% on this. And it's going to take time to get over that hump of, feeling comfortable and being able to say almost the exact same thing every time you visit somebody. So if you just stick with it, you and I ride together a little bit next week, I think you'll find it easier to do.
Well, Wes, I think you actually answered your own question. Go back to what you said in the last meeting we had.
That's right. Fill the hole, not the drill bit. I get that. I'm just talking about like the gatekeepers, these corporations, how we need an audience. We can get to the general manager. We can get to the local, whatever you call it, maintenance guy. That's not a problem. But the decision maker is the problem. That's what I see, right? So everybody will be on board up to that point, but now the decision maker has a couple of layers that we have to get through in order to get his attention. Now what I've noticed is I've kind of semi-relied on that general manager pushing that info up and then working with that general manager to set a meeting. That's where it's kind of dropping a little bit.
So here's one thing to remember about this, Wes, is let's say that you're the plant manager for some company, and I've just gotten to you, and I ask you this question. So Wes, in your capacity as general manager, are you expected to control expenses?
Correct.
Okay. If you're expected to control expenses, what I'm offering you is something that will reduce the cost, control expenses, reduce the cost of operation. And I know, and you probably know this as well, Wes, that if you can take this to senior management and explain to them that they can reduce expenses and perhaps even receive an incentive, that's money in the bank. You drove that money to the bank. You're not a salesperson, so you have no opportunity to drive money into the company. This is an opportunity for you to drive money into the company's bottom line. That makes sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't know if there was any kind of, the gatekeeper finding out she likes chocolates, dropping off a box of chocolates, and just getting to know her. I think it's more of a follow-up game than it is a, 1, 2, 3 touch kind of game.
It's not really a 1, 2, 3 touch. I never saw this as a 1, 2, 3 touch.
No, I
unless
saw it at minimum 2 touch, maybe 3.
Yeah, unless you can get from the get-go with the owner of the company.
Right.
So
That's true.
if you can get with the owner of the company right away, or the decision maker right away, then it's a one touch, because you're going to do the survey, come back to him and say, as we discussed, here's your opportunity to save some money.
Mhm.
I've
So
done
One
it.
thing that, DR, one thing you can try, I've done this for years, and when you have a gatekeeper situation or a GM that you're dealing with and you need to get to the owner who makes the decision, or somebody that makes the decision other than the people that you're talking to, is you ask them, well, you're going to present this information to whom? And then they'll tell you whatever, maybe. And you say, well, how about I join you in a meeting and I can explain it and answer any questions that they might have. And you've already told me that you're very interested in saving money and going forward with a project. And if they refuse to do that, then you pretty much know that they're really not interested in buying anything. So, they become, instead of a prospect, they become a B prospect and move on to somebody else.
Okay.
But, and then you try to get directly to whoever they report to, some way, somehow. But if you ask them point blank, how about if we have a meeting, the 3 of us or 4 of us or whatever, to discuss the details? And if they refuse, then you pretty much know that they're not as interested as they might seem.
Yeah. Before I forget it, but a couple of thoughts came to mind while you were talking. One is that there is no panacea. There's no one size fits all answer.
Yep.
Never. And my experience over time in life is that there's never a one size fits all, ever. Secondly, Jim, on Summit Dental, if you get a chance to go back in there, particularly in the manager's office where they got that cover on that light and so forth, take some pictures of before. So we've got some before and after pictures. And we'll get David to take some after he's installed it. He's got to take some anyway to qualify for Nevada Energy. But I'd like to get those up on the site as well.
Absolutely. Do we know when the, when all the products are going to be installed, or do we have any kind of timetable on that?
I'm sure there is one. I just can't tell you what it is right at the moment.
Okay.
I was recently included in the electrician's timetable, which includes Las Vegas. So I should be able to tell from there. But I'll get back to you on that and let you know whatever I find out. But there is no one size fits all, guys. This is all of us working together to try and get to the right answer. And we will. And Wes, what I wanted you to re-explain was what you had said the other day. You're leaving.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yeah, go ahead. And the reason I want you to do it, honestly, is this is being recorded. And I'm hopeful that Jeff has the opportunity to use this in other sales meetings with Kelly and Leo. So for future people to join the company. So express that again, would you please?
Okay. So the basic setup for this was I went in and I kept getting told no and kept getting blown off and kept getting kind of frustrated. So being a former air crew member, when we would fly, before we fly, we briefed, and then we'd fly, and then we'd come debrief. And so that's kind of a habit that I do with myself. So every place that I go, every business that I visit, try to get an assessment done or a sale. I'm always thinking, okay, how could I have done that better? What could I do better? All of a sudden it just hit me. I was like, holy crap. I was talking to some friends of mine the other day that are in sales, and they were like, man, you got to sell the hole. And it made so much sense to me about selling the hole, not the drill bit. You don't need to sell the light. You just got to sell the problem. And all you have to do is, instead of being like a doctor, like you wouldn't go to a doctor and the doctor goes, hey man, I'm just going to write you a script. Here's some Motrin and here's some headache medicine. Here you go. And you're like, but doc, my leg's broke. You know what? I mean, I don't get it. So I think that a lot of times in sales, what we do is,
I'm a meeting with all the Las Vegas people right now.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Give me a call when you're done.
Thank you. Go ahead.
so in sales, what a lot of us tend to do is we got the solution. We want to push our agenda. Instead, we need to take a step back, know our agenda, but figure out, do they have a problem? Well, we know they have a problem because we can tell all these lights are old and outdated. We know that they're not energy efficient. We know that there's an issue there. But armed with that knowledge is you need to relay that to those people that are in charge, like the general managers, for instance, and be like, hey, I just happen to notice this kind of old lighting. How's that working out for you guys? What are your power bills like? Because you got to figure out that hole, right? Even if there's really not a hole, because those guys don't know there's a hole there. We know there's a hole, but we need to tell them, hey, see this hole? This is where your issue is, without being abrasive about it. Let them come up with that on their own. Like, yeah, what are the bills like? Oh, I don't know. Really, have you ever, who's in charge of that? And find out who's in charge, and then go talk to that person and find out what their bills are like. And when it's like, let's say it's $5,000 a month, $7,000 a month, $3,000 a month, and you're talking to these people, and you can be like, hey, would you like a chance to possibly reduce that? And they're all of a sudden, that may have not crossed their mind. And now you're selling the whole. And once you're getting them engaged in that and thinking about that, then we can come up with the solution. A lot of times we just want to say, hey, we're with Lights There. We can swap out your lights, not a problem. Well, immediately they're like, who is this guy? What does he know about my lights? That's way too much money. I've looked at that. Hold on, that's not where I'm going. So without even doing it like that, you want to just kind of approach it smooth, easy, calm, and let them know about their hole, and keep talking about that hole, and find out who works around that hole, right? Who's in charge of billing? Who sees that? Who pays the bills? And once we do that, we're able to figure it out, even if they're not the decision maker, right? And now we can talk to them, and the decision maker is going to listen to that person more than what you have to say, is what I figured out. And once we sell that person, or let them know about that hole and see, hey, we got a solution for you, we can cover that up and take care of you pretty quick and reduce your electricity or your lighting. I prefer to say reduce your lighting bills by at least 50 to 70%. Would that make sense to you? Or is that something you're interested in to save some more money for the company? And of course they're going to say yes. And then this is where we're prescribing. Now we're showing them the shiny drill bit. But once we pull out that drill bit that we're going to sell, what you want to do is be like, yeah, I get it. A lot of people have seen this and looked into this before. Go ahead and address the elephant in the room, right? It's expensive to do it this way. However, we have another way. We have what's called Lights There Capital. And I would really work that Lights There Capital drill bit, so to speak, after I've sold the hole. Does that make sense?
Exactly.
I mean, Jim, I'm sure you know, Lee, Doug, DR, and Jeff. Anybody got any questions? I mean, that's just something that I figured out. I know you guys are old school sales dudes, but this really resonated with me a lot. So it kind of helped me go, aha.
Everybody
It's
has
called conversational selling versus show up and throw up. In other words, if you just go into the office and you just say, this is what I got, they don't care. What you did is genius. I mean, basically you conversationally sell them into buying the product. And by asking questions, probing what their needs are, what they like, what they don't like, and go from there. It's perfect.
Well,
Awesome.
solution selling has always been one of the best ways to approach it. You know, you can't just say, I consult. So, well, I consult. So what? Now, if you say, I noticed that there's a problem here. And is that causing you a problem? Do you see it? Do you see what I see? That's solution selling. Well, as a consultant, that's what I do. As a representative for Lights Air, that's what we do. We fix that problem. Well, how do you guys do that? There's a discussion that you want. That's where you're headed.
That's
So
just something I came up with because a lot of businesses have this no solicitation. And you know what? You go in there. If it has a no solicitation on it, go in there and look at that business. Like, for instance, I'm going to go to an auto parts deal pretty soon, right? And I'm going to go in there and I'm going to buy a little something off the shelf while I'm at the counter, like $1, $2, something, right? Man, it's awful. My head's hurting. Is it the light in here or what's going on? Oh, yeah, we get headaches all the time. These things flicker. Really? Who's in charge of that? You see how that goes? So now you're not soliciting. You're a client, kind of, but you're asking questions. See how that kind of comes together? So when people like, oh, get out of here, you're just trying to sell me something. Hold on. No, not really. I don't need your business. So you don't have to act hungry for the business also. That's another thing. When you act like you're hungry for the business, people immediately smell that and they're like, get out of here. But if you're just like, oh man, real smooth about it, no, they'll be more receptive.
That's so true, Russ, and hopefully you've all realized it by being with me when I'm out with people. I do everything I can to not act like a salesperson. If you guys notice, I don't even use our company name. Use NV Energy. We want to be a partner with them. We want to partner with them to help them with energy efficiency in their facility.
Right. And
Yeah.
did you guys get that alert, Jeff? I don't think you did or know about it. I think I posted it. DR, did you see that? About the alert about lower your energy usage?
yeah, lower your energy bill, yeah.
So that we could use that to our advantage. I mean, when I saw that, I was like, holy cows, that's a great one. Man, did you guys get a text message at midnight the other night? Yeah, it's crazy. Can you imagine what this business is probably doing to pull on that? Yeah. Oh man, what's going on with that? Well, and get them engaged in that conversation, and then be like, once they bring it up, which they're going to, because you can steer them that way. And then you could be like, well, you know, I mean, my company, you could act like your company. My company actually works in conjunction with that to help reduce that kind of stuff. You know, because I'm pretty sure that's going to be coming because everybody's during this COVID is at home a lot, and it's causing a strain. And some of these businesses are open; they have to have lights on for security. But I tell you what, you know, is that something you guys? What are your bills like? I mean, it rolls right into what we're doing. You just have to find a way to open that door a little bit to be able to slide in there.
Very good one. Very, very good. All good words. So you guys will put that in your own style, and I think it'll be helpful. I watched with intent your faces as you were listening to this, and that's what I wanted to see. All right, let's change the subject for a minute, and I want to take you to lightstheremonday.com. Jeff and I have come up with a system here that we want to work, and we appreciate your cooperation in doing this. We think it's going to be a benefit to you. Now, I've sorted all this by sales rep. So let's go down here, Wes. Let's start with you. So there's Wes's current things.
Look at Jim crushing it. Look at you. You're a beast, bro.
Wilson's going crazy. Look at this. Look at William.
Look at Will. Will's on fire. Dang, Will, you need to keep a fire extinguisher at the house. Put yourself out, you know?
Oh man, let me hit one of them bad boys. That's when it's hot.
That's
Okay.
something I wanted to get
It
with
looks
the
good on
local
the outside.
team on.
It's good on the outside, but it's until we stick one, it's just fluff right now. I'm trying to get it,
I hear you.
trying to get these closed, man.
I hear you on that deal.
So here's the deal. You see this blue? That's actually the large spreadsheet that the company puts together on the basis of all the information you've input into Monday.com. See the red? Watch this. There's the proposal. And there's the amount of money. $24,285.
Aha, that's sneaky, sneaky, sneaky.
And there is the one pager right there. Now, when you see this, you should be looking at this every day to see what you have that has been returned. When you see this, you should be calling me and say, hey, I want to go out and approach McFadendale. Can we talk this through? And let's talk about the ideas we have about solving their problem. Okay? So when you go out there, you just go, and if you want me to, I'll go with you. But again, it has to be scheduled. But you have to first know that it's here. Jeff is not going to be putting this proposal here until he's gone through and made sure that these numbers are correct and that cash positive or cash negative is the very best we can do. And if there's a change in that he considers significant, he will get your approval before he posts this on Monday.com. That makes sense to everybody?
Yeah.
We're going to go through the lights there, Monday.com. This is our backbone. This is where we live and breathe. All the information that we receive ultimately winds
What are we hearing?
I have no idea.
It's got an interesting flow pattern. But
It sounds like one of the videos we made for the training portion of website.
Monday.com, we're going to
Well, that took it away apparently. So anyway, that's a story, and that's what I wanted you guys to realize. So if I were one of you, I would be in this every day just to see what the status of my deals are. See, it says ready to present, Elite Collision Center, ready to present. We haven't attached the proposal. Jeff will get that done. But anything that says ready to present, you should be looking for an attachment here.
talk about.
DR, I think you got a video playing in the background.
All right, I think it's important to note that every one of the.
Where the hell is it playing from? I have no idea.
It's hard to listen to you in the video. It's like, what? Who's talking? Like, there's DR's voice. Like, there's DR's voice again.
You see me eliminating all of these?
I see ya. There you go. Oh no, still playing.
Which does give you editing privileges to some degree or another. They just can't add columns.
Wow.
Yeah, so,
You gotta laugh. It's good, man.
It's great. What the hell happened?
It happens sometimes.
Okay, Forrest. DR, mute yourself.
So
Steve, anything.
I have looked at a video that we're listening.
Let's see. Let's just stop this.